Good morning. Good morning. It's a beautiful day. Hioho mitakiape, Eva Cordova machiape, Malakota and Tas Pueblo. My Thama is Joseph Conquilla Cordova. My Ina or my Ka is Patricia Cordova. I'm sixth generation from Chief Red Cloud. I'm the owner operator of AC and Associates, and I'm your host today for this beautiful event. Thank you for being here. Thank you for checking in with us. Today is December 14th. Thank you for being here and joining us today for this amazing program. We would like to welcome you to today's live event. What is the event today? Why are we all here? We are here for some healing. We are here for some laughs. We're here to hold space to honor and grieve the children's lives that we lost at boarding school, residential school, and to speak with and to those survivors and the grandchildren of survivors from boarding schools. We also want to learn about the historical context of boarding schools and missions in California community. We'll also hear from survivors, second and third generation of survivors, and community will learn about talking circles and have the opportunity to join a live talking circle after this event. Led by the amazing Brian Frejo. It does take so many individuals to make this possible, and we'd like to acknowledge the partnering organizations. Paul from powwows.com, thank you so much for allowing us to collaborate. AC and Associates, Journey to the Past, Brian Frejo, the Center for Truth and Racial Healing, School of Social Sciences of the University of Irvine as the main sponsor of the event. And we're also honored to welcome Teresa Neighbors to share a few words. So we're going to go ahead and have our moderator bring on Teresa Neighbors. Hi, Teresa. Thank you so much for being here and for funding this project. And we're super excited to bring healing to Indian country.
Thank you so much for that. Just a few seconds before we get into what's really important today. Thanks so much for joining us. Good morning, welcome. The UCI Center for Truth and Racial Healing is proud to present today's event, which acknowledges the intergenerational trauma resulting from the practice of forced boarding school attendance, and more importantly, the healing among Indigenous communities after that trauma. In the center's mission to support racial and community healing through truth-telling and narrative change, UCI Center for Truth and Racial Healing supports anti-racism research and community work, provides resources toward racial justice, and develops and supports a culture of racial healing and intergroup dialogue. This event is brought to you today by the generous funding of AAC&U, the Papa John's Foundation, as well as the Samueli Foundation, and the generous support of Dean Bill Maurer and the School of Social Sciences. A heartfelt thank you to each of our presenters today. It truly is an honor for me and all of us here to hear and to learn from you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Teresa. And thank you so much for reaching out to have healing in communities, to be able to do this program. We look forward to working with you in the future. And also, if you are liking this program, let's give a shout out. Tell us where you're checking in from. We would love to say hello. Thank you, Teresa, for those words. And we're going to go ahead and bring on the beautiful, the amazing. If you don't know this person, you need to know this individual. She is so beautiful. She has a family of individuals that are handsome and beautiful. So let's go ahead, shout out to our moderator and bring on the one and only Jackie Nunes. Hi, Jackie.
Hi. Oh, it's so good to be on with you, and so good that this all came together and you are just do what you do so wonderfully. So thank you so much, April. And so I really would like to do a land acknowledgement because we are starting in, our territory, and I'd like to teach the word in our language healing. So it is Lu And I'm going to say it phonetically so that we can say it. Lu, ka, ku, lu, lu, lu. Ugh. Well, there we go. See how difficult our language is. But let me see. It is, we were deciding whether we were going to have healing or we were going to have speaking or we were going to have talking. So I would like to share that word later because I don't have it written down. Our language is so difficult, and I've been trying for a few years, and it's difficult. But anyway, I want to welcome everyone. And in my language, we say Nuyuam Atacham. Hello, people. Sepul means one. As we come together today, we are one. And we are in our precious ancestral land of Orange County, but we would call her Tamayarut. Some of our villages in Orange County are Gavet, Ahashimai, Piturim, Alauna, Tobe, Panhe. And we were hunters, we were gatherers, we made baskets and we gathered plants for our baskets with deer grass and junkus and yucca. And we were resilient through our history of colonization. We stand together with neighboring tribes of the Tongva, Kauai, Serrano, Kumeyaay, and know that what we knew 1,000 years ago is so valuable today. I'd like to share in our language a prayer song, and then I'd like to ask my son Jackson to share in a bird song. He'll be using our traditional gourd, and in our language we say Ompalo. Tu ho na na chi na tu dira rohia iche ma na ke pohiet egla hoia no hoshun yo yo yo. And that's a calling for healing in the circle in our language. Ompalo. Jackson, would you share a song?
Thank you very much, Mother, for the wonderful song for people. You young,
We can't hear you.
I wanted to bless them today song that talks about a very powerful that I our Mother Ocean wants to acknowledgement to wake up our people. Awake, 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 Anoya, 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 awake, 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 Anoya, 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 awake, awake, Anoya, 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 awake, 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 Anoya, awake, 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 Anoya, awake, awake, Anoya, 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 Anoya. Uh-huh, uh-huh, Ompalof, Ompalof. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jackson. Thank you so much, Jackie. We are so grateful and thankful that you're able to come here and be here with us today. Thank you for that beautiful song. We would like to now welcome to the show our moderator for the panel, which is going to happen right now. So we're going to go ahead and have our moderator bring on the one and only, the handsome, the amazing man that I've had the pleasure to work with, Mr. Eric Sanchez. Boo, boo, boo. Yay, Eric! How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm just keeping dry and warm today, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Let's go ahead and have you introduce yourself.
All right. Thank you, Avro. Yate Shikis, Yate Albini, Shea Eric Sanchez, Jenna Shea, Ke Arni Nishle, Tahano Bashachin, Naki Tene Dashache, Tahano Dashnali, Akodego de Nishle. Hello, everyone. My name is Eric Sanchez, and I'm Navajo, very proud of that, as well as being part Mexican or Tejano. My dad is originally from San Antonio. He always calls himself Tejano, and so that's where I come, where I come from, more or less. A little bit here, a little bit there, and it's always great to be around so many dynamic individuals already. You know, like wow. You know, there's Aero, and there's Jackie, and her son Jackson. You know, so it's great and fantastic already. And we're going to see some great other individuals who are going to share information and some dynamic teachings for all of us, some experiences that I think we're all going to gain something from, some healing, some wisdom, and hopefully walking away with some good feelings and some good medicine. But I could talk about myself for a long time. We could have the Eric Sanchez show. No.
Yes, let's have the Eric Sanchez show.
Yeah, but I mean, but in any case, I'm really thankful to UCI and AC and Associates and everyone who came together to make this event happen. And definitely, we're hopeful that, or I'm always hopeful that being part of this. Or being part of any community event or activity. So thank you so much. I believe that we have a wonderful panel here that will be talking about this healing within Indigenous communities and regarding boarding schools. So correct me if I'm wrong, if we're going to be going to that panel now.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, great. Then I would love to introduce our wonderful panelists who are really the stars of this program. So first, I would like to introduce an individual that I've had a lot of time working with in the community that I feel always honored and privileged to be in a space with. She's definitely been a role model for me in terms of, you know, how to work within the Native community, how to communicate and also to deal with conflict, as well as to, I think, always keep calm and carry on. And that is the one and only Connie Norris.
Washday. It's good to be here today. Good to see you, Eric and Avro, and all that's involved. So I'm happy to be here today.
Let me go with the next panelist. Actually, she's already been here already, but I've also had an opportunity to work with her, and definitely dynamic, wonderful, cultural instructor, ambassador for her tribe in all ways, and always wanted to teach and educate and inform, and that is the wonderful, beautiful Jackie Nunes. I think we're having mute.
It's really great to be here again today, and good to see you, Eric. And I'm going to be watching for new things coming your way. And Connie, I'm so grateful to be with you again. And this has been a journey for me that has been a personal obligation to be my mother's voice. So I'm grateful that I've had this platform. So thank you. Ompalo.
And then, of course, we have, let's see. Oh, we've already seen him as well. Very talented individual, multitasking, just all around wonderful individual, who we've already had the pleasure of hearing a little bit from this morning, and hopefully we'll hear some more. And that just happens to be Jackie's son, Jackson Tonka. I imagine. Okay. But anyway, there you go.
Yeah.
Hey, Jackson.
Eric, it's good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Hello,
Let's see.
Connie. Hello. Hello, everyone.
Okay. Oh, we have one more person to bring up. And that would be the infamous, but always dynamic and wonderful, Eva Cordova.
Of course.
Eva, are you there?
Hello. Yep, I'm here.
She is the sixth generation from Chief Red Cloud, daughter of survivor, mother, and grandmother, and an entrepreneur as well, of course, doing so many wonderful things in Indian country. So I think if we could, should we offer each panelist a little bit of time to introduce themselves a little bit more? Okay. So then why don't we start from where we start from at the beginning? Miss Connie Fast Horse Norris. If you want to say a few words just additionally to introduce yourself, so we can, everyone here can get a sense of everyone else. It's all about relationships, right? Understanding each other. And we'd love for everyone to know more about all the wonderful work and things that you people do on the panel. So please, Connie.
Rosebud, South Dakota. And I relocated to California in like 1962, but I am third generation of boarding school, St. Francis, South Dakota. My grandmother attended there and my mother attended there. So, and then my mother, we went back to Rosebud and I attended there also. So, I'm a retired nurse from LA County. I recently moved to Anadarko, Oklahoma to help raise my grandson and my great-granddaughter. So that's what I'm doing now. And I was a subcontractor with UAII in LA, and I was involved with the AICC, and I am a medicine carrier for the First Women Talking Circle also. So glad to be here, joining in on this StreamYard event, and ready for the questions.
Oh, good. Thank you very much, Connie. And so now we're going to go back to Ms. Jackie Nunes. Share a little bit more about yourself.
Years, and I've been particularly focused in India country for the last 30. I created a company called Journeys to the Past, and it began because my children were fun of at school because they had long braids. And the mama bear kind of got in me, and I went to the school and I said, wait a minute, elders of the mission, which is across the street from this school, and I think I need to share who we unity. And so I put together, like a show and an assembly, and invited my husband to sing and dance and drum, and all my cousins to shawl dance. And we just did a presentation. By the third assembly, they called down to the Indian education program and told Joe Wilson, we don't know who this Indian lady is, but you better come see her. And then he hired me that day. And that was the beginning of my program. But my program started because my heart was there to protect my children by making the school aware of who the Ahashiman people are. As I did my assemblies, one little blonde, blue-eyed child came up to me after my son had danced and said, it's so cool to be an Indian. I'm nothing, just an American. And when he said that, I realized that every child needs to feel like they are somebody. It's not only in my own community, but when I go to schools, I tell everyone, go home, learn your stories, respect your neighbors, respect yourself, and share who you are in the world. So my story grew to not only encompass my Indian community, but to inspire other students to be proud of their language, their food, their culture. So I'm very excited to be here. I feel like I'm a voice to my mother, who was a survivor of St. Boniface. And I've healed more in just 2 sessions being with Averill. And I just think that this needs to continue. And I hope that someone today will just find a little bit of awareness how important listening, speaking, and sharing the story. So I want to thank you.
Thank you so much, Jackie. And that's a really wonderful story. And I hope anyone who's listening in the community can take some, I don't know, inspiration from that, because definitely does share that every individual, every family, like parent out there, can take charge and really make change happen, even in starting from the school setting to greater and bigger things I know you've been able to do.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Jackson, would you like to share a little bit more about yourself and the things that you're up to these days?
Yes, for sure. Well, for everyone out there, my name is Jackson. Seminole Nation and Tanaatam Nation of Arizona. As a young man, what I've been up to is I've been really focused on a healthy lifestyle, trying to also teach my children about my lifestyle, and that starts with what I'm about nowadays is keeping my kids focused on the true meaning of being an Indigenous and being Native and being proud of who we are. It's something that was tough for me growing up, as far as the stuff that we went through, going through the systems of the world, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. And nowadays we're showing how to be warriors again. We're showing how to be people that feed and feed the people. And that's where I'm at, is I'm really excited to be a part of any kind of program that has to do with keeping our people motivated and keeping our Indigenous people alive. It's something that I've always was raised around. It was something that I wasn't just born a Native. I was actually raised a very, very blessed young man, raised in our lifestyle and our ways and traditional ways. So that's where I've been lately. It's so good to see everyone, from Connie, of course, to my mom. I'm not even in California. Of course, I'm originally from California, and I now reside in Makwasagagan First Nation of Saskatchewan, Canada. I've been here for over 12 years. I've been going back and forth. Of course, I miss my California, but I've been up here working with the Hiiwa people, the Cree people. I've been working closely with chief and councils and representatives from the education system, and rewriting curriculum for schools to re-educate our people, and not only just ours, but all over Indian countries. So I've been very busy, man, Eric. I've been a very, very busy guy, and I'm keeping my best foot forward. As, of course, being a lovely married man and a family of 5 kids, you get busy, but we stay focused. So it's great to see everyone. Thank you for having me.
It's great to hear from you. And then also just tells us about the dynamic nature of our panel, coming from multiple states and international from Canada. So and I thought it was cold here. It must be much colder over there, but you just keep on trucking.
We sure do.
There you go. And so please remember, everyone, or whoever's watching, please to remember to register. You'll see at the bottom of our screen information about how to register for today's event. You can just check on that bit.ly link, and you may be in the running for some wonderful items. I think I saw at the very beginning. So register. But of course, that leads us to the one and only, the dynamic, the effervescent Eva Cordova. Would you like to share a little bit more?
Yes. I would like to share. Hioho Mitakiape, Eva Cordovi, Machiape, Malakota, and Tas Pueblo. My Tama is Joseph Kankila Cordova. My Ener, my cause, Patricia Co. Cordova. I'm 6th generation from Chief Red Cloud. I'm the owner operator of ACN Associates. I'm also a community member and zooming in from Tongva territory. that is Los Angeles, California. So my community is the Los Angeles American Indian community. I'm so thankful and grateful to be here. Thank you to everybody checking in. I noticed that both of my sisters actually are in the chat. So not only am I checking in as the daughter of Patricia Crow Cordova and Joseph Cordova, my sisters are in the chat as well. I am a mother, like I said, a grandmother. I have a daughter and grandkids, and I'm just so thankful to be here. It's a healing. I prayed this morning. We smudged. And I'm just thankful to be able to openly talk about this, because this in the past has not been able to, when my mom and dad went to boarding school, when my mom went to boarding school, she wasn't able to speak her language. She wasn't able to say, hioho, or my dad wasn't able to say his language, ta'a. He wasn't able to say those words. The small words that I know, I continually use them all the time with my children, with my grandchildren, with my community. So ta'a, pilamayaye, gracias, atieha. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. The end. La la la.
La la la. No, there's never la 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 with Eva Cordova. No. Thank you, everyone. And I think as Eva has mentioned, this issue is always salient. I think I saw a post somebody put on Facebook that there are now over 7,000 remains of Native children found, at least in the Canadian boarding school system. So I'm sure Jackson's aware, knows some of that. And who knows how many Native youth and individuals died here in the United States and in other countries where they've had similar systems built around the genocide of Native people, and taking the children away from their families. So it's it's an issue we need to always make sure that's in the spotlight. There's always a new issue, a new crisis, but this is one that's needs to have more light shine on it, and this event will help to do that. As Jackson mentioned, it's about I think resilience, right? It's trauma, but we're also talking about Native resilience, because Native people are still here even after a boarding school experience, and also that there has been some, let's reclaim it, and a lot of Native youth still attend boarding schools and are quite proud of it, and they get quite a good experience from it. Varies from place to place. But we must remember the original intention of these type of places. It wasn't really for our benefit. But through culture, through coming together, like these kind of settings, I think it's always about healing, wellness, and good vibes and good feelings. And we want to be always shining that through. So now it's question time. But I promise it'll be good. It'll be. I think it'll definitely will help to illuminate further on this whole discussion that we're having. And so first question goes to Ms. Connie Fastos Norris, who I'm always happy to see. Just such a wonderful individual. Oklahoma's lucky to have you. We need to bring you back. But the question is more, I guess, not really a question. It's more like doing the one thing sometimes we don't always like to do is talk about ourselves. But explain your experience, going to boarding school. How did you get there? And just kind of share some of that knowledge and wisdom for us, if you can, if you may.
And we were located in California, and relocated in California. We went back home to South Dakota, and a father from St. Francis came to talk to my mother and had told my mother that she should send us to St. Francis boarding school. And at that time, it was not mandatory. It was voluntary, and they still had the boarding school, the live on premises enrollment. So my brother, which is 2 years older than me, my sister, which is 2 years younger than me, we were enrolled in St. Francis, and we were sent there to go to school for about a year. And it was really different because you're among strangers and treated like kind of like a assembly line. just moved like cattle from one place to another. But yeah, the father came and he spoke to my mom, and my mom agreed because she went to boarding school, and her mother had went to boarding school, and so I guess she just thought that that's what we were supposed to do. But so that's how we got there. The father came to our house and asked my mom, and so she took us there and enrolled us to boarding school.
Okay. Let me see. Other questions here. Is there anything else that you want to share about your experience being at the boarding school that you attended?
Well, academically, it was really good, because once we came out of boarding school, relocated back to California. I skipped the 5th grade and went straight into 6th grade because the studying there was really good, but the experience there was different. And the younger nuns were very nice and teaching, but some of the older nuns that had, I guess, maybe been there for years, they were kind of really strict and really, I don't know, I guess kind of tired of trying to teach Native American kids that they're not Native, and so they don't know how to talk to you. And then everything is just, you got to do this, you better do this, and if you don't do this, then they at the boarding school I went to, they had a big leather strap, and so if you didn't a lot of Native American kids are shy. And one experience I remember is doing the current events, and she would push you in front of the class and say, okay, start speaking now. And I actually started stuttering from that situation because she was behind me and pushing me forward and pulling me back and pushing me forward and pulling back and telling me, okay, speak now, and I don't know, I just couldn't do it. I started stuttering from that, and I had to go to language classes so I would stop stuttering. But I just remember, because that class was one of the older nuns that I had, and she was very impatient and very kind of strict. But that was an experience that I remember that I didn't think I had any trauma from until older in my age. I had a situation kind of like that, and I just kind of froze up, and I couldn't even talk. It's like if my tongue swelled up and I couldn't speak. And I was like, what's going on? What's happening to me? So I didn't really know that I had trauma from the boarding school until a situation came up that was similar to what happened there. And because it's not really something you talk about. And actually, I never had talked to my grandkids or even my children. They knew I went to boarding school, but I never shared any experiences with them. So, I buried it, and I never really thought I had trauma from there. And then as time goes by, and I wonder why do I stutter? Why do I get so nervous to talk? And I understand. When I remember things, then I understand. I understand, and I said, gosh, I guess it did cause trauma. And yesterday I was right with my oldest grandson, and I was sharing with him, and he looked at me and he said, Grandma, I never knew you went to boarding school. And so that now this has become a thing. We get together and we talk about things that they didn't know about the relocation or the boarding school experience. And he thought I thought that was back in the 1800s, when all the kids were just mandatory taken and stuff. And I said, no, it still happened in the 60s. And actually, my grandson was all of them went to boarding school here in Riverside, at Riverside Boarding School in Anadarko, Oklahoma. And their experience is way different. They have a lot of Native American staff and teachers, and they teach them cultural things. They learn to make ribbon shirts. They learn to sing. They have language classes. They love it. It is so different now, so different, and they love it. I have my granddaughter. She went there all 4 years. She graduated. They took her, and she got to meet President Obama. And it was a really, really good experience for her to go to the boarding school here in Anadarko.
Yeah, I mean, I've known folks who've gone to Sherman Indian School here in Southern California, out in near San Bernardino, and it's full of other Native youth and a lot of, like you say, cultural education and things. It's a different experience than it was in the past. Um, I think you mentioned that your mom attended boarding school. Did she ever talk about experiences with you?
She never talked about it with us. All I knew was that she went there, she didn't like it, and she left. I think she left in the 6th grade. She said she had to go home and help her mom with her brothers and sisters, so she left. She didn't graduate from there. She left, and then my grandma went there, and she graduated from there. And she said that she just learned. She learned a lot. She learned to sew. She learned how to cook and stuff. But she was made to go there. They came and they got them and they made them go. So she said she just did what everybody else did, just followed the line, and they didn't get to speak their language. And so, but my mom was able to speak Lakota, but not in the school, from home. But when we went there, even if people had a nickname that was in Lakota, we were not to say it. We were not to say anything in Lakota. They changed their names if they had a name that was in Lakota. And my son is a graduate from Sherman Indian High School in Riverside, California. He graduated from there in I think it was '96. But they wanted to go to boarding school because they thought we want to be in California. Him and my daughter and my youngest son, they all went there, and they all wanted to experience going to school with their own kind, with all Native Americans. And they had a little intertribal discrimination there, because if you're from the city and you never grew up on the reservation, then the urban Indians are discriminated against the reservation Indians. And so my son had wrote a paper on it, and he's from 2 different tribes. He's from Gila River Pima, and he's from Rosebud Lakota. So in back in the days, I guess they didn't get along, the tribes, and so neither culture tribe wanted him in the group because he was mixed. And so he had wrote a paper on discrimination and about the relocation program, going to California, how his mom and dad met, and now he represents 2 nations. So he got into the Gila River cultural class and got to learn things about that tribe and stuff, but he didn't speak Lakota or anything. So they didn't let him go back and forth to both clubs or cultural classes or whatever. But he graduated from Sherman Indian High School, and he enjoyed his experience. He liked it there. But yeah, it's different now. A lot of kids want to go to boarding school and experience the boarding school, being with all the Native kids. It's different. It's really different from going to a public school where you have to interact with other kids, and then you hear the stories in the history books about cowboys and Indians and stuff like that. And I actually, when my children were in public school, they had to deal with Thanksgiving, and they picked my son to be the token Indian at the Thanksgiving play, and he refused to do it. So that the difference, they're taught differently in the boarding school and the public schools. And like Jackie said, she had to be mama bear and step up to defend her kids. And you have to teach your kids who they are in public schools, because if they fall into that I don't know, history of what the books say, they start to feel bad. They start to feel like the renegades or the bad person, which they're not. This is our land, and this is where we're from. We come from here, and the other people that came here just changed everything for them. But yeah, it was a good experience to be here with my grandchildren that go to boarding school here. It's a really good, Riverside here in Anadarko is a really good school.
Well, that's a multi-generational boarding school experience. Yeah. We also, and then seeing the change from one generation to the next of how boarding school experience has shifted. Um, just lets, I hope, informs folks about the dynamic nature of the boarding school discussion and how it shifted. And so, it's like seeing that Native people have been able to find, I guess, a form of healing and a form of togetherness now at boarding schools than it was in the past. But those past issues are still, lingering on. And I think we're going to discuss a little bit more about okay. Going to Avro, we have a question for you. As you know that your both your parents went to boarding school. And so how have you and your family been able to heal from that experience? Your parents being at boarding school and the after effects of that.
Thank you, Eric, for asking that question. And I'm going to speak on my own experience because I can't speak necessarily for my sisters or other family members, because this is the experience, the healing that I've had personally with my mother. So one of the ways that my family has worked to heal is many years ago. Both my father and my mother are passed, but many years ago, my mother and I attended a talking circle led by Ben Hale. He's Dene, and he's in Pico Rivera area. I was a part of the parent advisory committee through Southern California Indian Center, and Phil always did many things culturally to help community. One of those things he did was he had a talking circle, and me and my mom went, and Ben was very, very welcoming. And when I went into that talking circle, I didn't think that I was going to share anything about myself or about my family. So in talking circle, Ben had these crystals that he passed around. And when you had the crystal, you were able to speak. So the crystal went around one time. My mom, we all introduced ourselves. The crystal went around again. And the question was about boarding school. And one of the things that I shared, because I was sitting before my mom, one of the things that I shared was I was mad at my mom. I was upset at my mom because she never taught us her language. She never spoke to us in Lakota. And I was mad at her because she knew this language that I didn't know. And then it got to her. Then the stone got to her. And she said, she said, I'm sorry that I didn't teach you my language. But when I went to school, when I went to boarding school, they hit us. They hit us for talking our language. They didn't allow us to talk our language. And I came out on relocation, and I didn't want you to have that same pain that I had. I didn't want you to experience what I went through. So I didn't talk to you in my language. And she apologized for that. And I never knew that my mom went to boarding school before that talking circle happened. I never knew that those things happened to her, that she got hit, that her clothes were burned, that her hair was cut. The only time in Lakota that we cut our hair and we burn our clothes is when you pass away. So for my mom, it was like she had to, like she went through some death of her own culture, of the person that she was, the person that she was raised to be, traditionally, culturally, not being able to talk your own language. Imagine going to a school where everybody talks this foreign language to you and you talk your own language because that's who you are. And then going to school and them telling you you can't do any of that. You can't speak your language. You can't do what you were taught to do. So it was actually a healing for both of us in that talking circle. I learned that that all of those things happened to my mom. And I felt a sense of shame because I felt that way because I was mad at her for something she couldn't even control. But that after we got out of that talking circle, it was a healing. It was definitely healing for me to understand all of the things that she went through. So in our own healing, me and my mom, we have a big heart and a big wanting to give back to community. And I think that's why I do all the things that I do for community, wanting to comfort others, wanting to make sure that our community has a voice and is able to share these types of things, such as this program today. So that's how we're healing. Thank you to all.
Yes, and we were seeing some of the responses in the chat here. My heart is broken for you and your mom for having to go through this, from Joanne Wilkerson Bradley. Uh, I guess for April, it's a very powerful story, but were you able to work through that with your mom? That sort of hurt, but also kind of understanding her experience.
I am able to heal now. As I stated earlier, I try to use the small words that I know on a daily basis. And I also am taking language classes from both my Lakota side and my Taos Pueblo side. But in Taos Pueblo, pandemic has brought so many good and bad things. Bad that we have to stay in our home, that we have to wear a mask, but good that programs like this are happening. Not only like this, but my tribe, Taos Pueblo, has started to record our languages, and that's something that they've never done before, ever. If anybody knows Taos Pueblo, we are very traditional. We don't share our language we don't write it down, we don't record it, but now that's what they're doing. And they're sending us video recordings so that we can practice those on a regular. So yes, I am healing. I am able to talk about it. Today, I think, because this is such a healing event, tears are healing. And I always want to say that to people. It's okay to cry. It's okay to let those tears flow. Just like rain today, it's raining and it's ugly outside. But after that, there's going to be sunlight, there's going to be rainbows. So thank you, Creator, for allowing me to cry today, for allowing the rain to be here and allowing me to heal.
Thank you very much, April. I guess talking more about healing, next question goes to Jackie, and how your family has been able to work towards healing.
Yes, and Avriel, what you shared today, I was, tearful with you, but there was this joy because I truly believe what you believe, that, you shared those tears. You shared that story before, but you weren't emotionally, but today was the day. And so, I thank the Creator for that too, April. Um, so my story, I feel like I'm the voice of my mother because my mother has a similar experience as Pawnee mother, not you, Connie, but your mother, because the priest, the nun, it looked like my mother described like like a government person, came in this big black car, and it was pretty scary when they drove in because nobody had a lot of cars back in the 30s, and they went into the house, and within a half an hour, my great grandmother came out with my mother's suitcase, and with little transitional time, like, let me explain what's going on. She just said, you're going to go with them now. And it almost felt as though my mother was thrown away. You're going to go with them now. And her little brother went with her. And they were in the back seat. And my mother had explained in a very emotional outburst when I was 17, my mother stuffed her experience for 35 years. And I never knew anything about it until I was in high school. And I came home, my mother was crying. I thought someone had died in our family. And she was almost, I was trying to remember, it was like she was in a trance, folding these towels. And she said, they hated us. They hated us. If I wasn't so dark, they wouldn't have taken me. And it was very alarming for me. And I was going, Mother, what are you talking about? And then she began to share this story of how she felt it was because she was darker than her older brother. He didn't go. That's why they took her. She said that the people, when they arrived, there was a lot of harsh, behavior. They wrapped her head, and I mean, they first put the medicine, she said she described it like a big can that they sprayed on their heads and wrapped her hair with rags. And she said they thought we were filthy Indians. She says, and that's what I was. I was a dirty Indian. And I can hear her saying those words again. And, I said, Mother, I said, where was this? And so she told us the story that they came and got her and they took her to St. Boniface. And she said that the people in the city didn't like the Indians either. I mean, when they go to walk to the movies, they couldn't even go in the front door. They had to go through the back door. And then the people came out and they would spit on the ground and call him a dirty Indian. And so all of that, from the time that they took my mother, I sort of feel this young, beautiful Ahashinan girl began her journey of sadness, of low self-worth, of feeling that she's not okay, that the color of her skin was, designated whether she was pretty or not. And, what the word that comes to mind to me is historical trauma, intergenerational trauma, because I never understood why my mother was so mean. I lived in the middle of Orange County, around a lot of non-Indians. The Hispanic population was in Almadena. We did not associate with them. We were right in the heart of more of a affluent neighborhood. And when I would go to other people's homes, their mother was so nice, but my mother was angry. My mother was, I just never understood it. And she really did abuse us, and to these terms today would never be acceptable. My mother, she would beat us with the belt, with, the cord of an iron. She'd grab us by our hair and drag us around and slap us. And she did all of that. And, when I think about all of this, I began to put my puzzle together because I hate to say this, but I was really ashamed. I didn't want people to see my mother in school. And I know that Jackson's never heard that. And, I did have a lot of shame. I wanted my mother to be different. I wanted to be different. I didn't want to be Indian. I wanted to be like all the other people. And it was, I was reminded, constantly that, this sounds really ridiculous, but I remember I had a crush on somebody that was the football, captain. And they said, oh, you don't have a chance with him. Look at you, you're Mexican Indian. What are you? No one ever really knew, what we were. They knew that we were ethnic. And I remember then that there was like this separation between me and the other kids. And so, I was trying to figure out my life in high school. And when my mother came with this story, I realized, not then, but maybe 20 years later, that this was historical trauma, that my mother was abused, and so she abused us. My mother was angry, and so she pushed us away. My mother, they never gave her an encouraging word at the St. Boniface. So my mother never gave me an encouraging word. And I thank the Creator that He put people in my life, like teachers, that encouraged me to go to college, that encouraged me that I had gifts and talents and I should go on to college, because my mother never said that. And But I loved my mother. I mean, you learn to love whatever you can have. But I always longed for my mother to touch my face and say, I love you. But it was the parenting of the school that was teaching my mother how to parent her kids. And as I was watching a program on uh, PBS, and it was a woman that was sharing her story, she said, oh, those nuns would grab us by the hair and they would drag us all around. And it was like my heart said, oh my gosh, that's what my mother, where she learned to do this. Oh, Joey, please. And so I came home and I said, Joanne, I said, that's where mother learned to pull your hair and drag us around. I said, because that's what she was taught at St. Boniface. And my sister got it the worst because she was older and she was defiant, and my mother wasn't going to have it. And so, I think of, how does a Native child heal from this? My mother never healed from this. Never. She never healed from this. She had so many physical problems. She had heart problem. She had a replacement of 5 valves. She had diabetes. And the last 20 years of her life, she broke out in hives every single day. And the doctor tried to help her. And he said, Mrs. Cheryl, I don't know, but you probably need to divorce your husband. He says, there's something, I don't know. I mean, she was separated from my father, and he thought it had something to do with her marriage. But it was so deeply embedded in my mother. And to see your mother suffer, like she'd go, oh, I got the itches, and she'd have them all over her body. Well, when I go and talk to students that are, I'm doing conferences, I always tell them, you have to learn to talk. You have to learn to share. Because when you don't share, your body, it reacts. And then I share a story from my mother that she broke out in hives because she never talked about her childhood pain. My mother was the life of the party to the world. But in her home, she would repeat what the school, what the nuns, what the priests taught her. And the parenting was hurtful. And the parenting was very difficult, to hear your mother be that way. But it wasn't her fault. I kind of like with you, April, is that I was ashamed of my mother, but I didn't know why. I was ashamed of my mother because I felt like, oh, she's so mean. No one's going to like her. I don't want those kids to come to my house. But had I only known that I could, go to a talking circle or go to therapy or work through this, maybe my mother and I could have, you know, healed through this. Nous voulons to heal through the pain that my mother had. Jackson told me this morning, and I appreciate that you did, Jackson, that my mother, when she had her stroke and she was paralyzed on the right side, I always prayed to God that my mother would stop cussing. My mother cussed more than anyone that I knew in my whole entire life. She cussed so much that when she used the word blast it, which is not really a cuss word, I remember saying, oh, don't say that. My mother uses that word. That's a cuss word. Because every word and I think it was her anger, from, how she was raised. But when she was paralyzed, she couldn't speak. And I became my mother's mother. I took care of her. I gave her a bath. I touched her face. I plucked her chin hairs. I washed her hair. I touched her arms. I gave her butterfly kisses. I got to do everything that my mother was unable to do. My mother couldn't do those things. And I loved when it took 3 people to bathe her, and my sister and my aunt. And when she laid on her bed and she was in her, fresh linen, and I comb her hair, and I could be so close to her, my face could be so close to her. It was like Creator knew that I needed that. I wanted that. And I believe, like Averill, that Creator opened the door for me to be a teacher. And I always wanted kids to know that they were special and loved. When I see kids that I see a talent in, I always call it out. I say, oh my goodness, you're an artist. You keep drawing. It's like God used what was very negative in my life to create a teacher to make a change. And I just believe that what we are doing, we're trying to heal through this pain that was stuffed. My mother stuffed it, didn't talk about it. But what happens is she did talk about it, but she talked about it in continuing the trauma with me, my sister, and my brothers. And we have things that we're working on all the time. One of the things, and I don't want to take too much time, but we're all kind of hoarders. We save everything. And I think that as I'm starting to delve into that and study it, it's like they say it comes a lot from childhood trauma. And so, we're trying to heal through that. Earlier on, when my brother and my sister, when in their younger days, they resorted to drugs. I didn't, but I resorted in. I I don't know if they have the child order, but I really think it came from the trauma. Is that I was always trying to please my father and my mother, and to say, look what I'm doing. See, I want you to see that I'm worthy. I'm good. I want you to see that I'm good. And I think that came a lot from just experiencing the feeling that I wasn't good. I wasn't worthy of somebody, saying something good to me. And so I still, I always walk 110%. I'm always doing a little extra, and I'm trying to, work those things out. But intergenerational trauma, historical trauma, we experienced them. And I do want to thank this space for me to share my story. For this, some of you, I tried to say, the word earlier, but it's nu va kup, healing. And if you're out there with another language, we hope that you'll put it in the chat. If you know how to say healing, because our vision is that we can heal through this. And our stories need to be heard. No child should ever have to go through what my mother experienced, what Connie's, what Averill. We have a voice, and we need to stop. And one of the things my mother said to me when she was sharing all of this, she said, they even made us dig graves. Well, when I was 17, I didn't understand that. That seemed so odd that she would say that. Now that in the last 2 years, they're finding these children, St. Boniface, you're going to be on the list. Because my mother, Frances Placencia, said, you made us dig graves. And there are some bodies there. Because my mother wouldn't, in her painful expression, say that to me. And I pray and I hope that they will go to each boarding school and they will find our children, our missing children. On public. Thank you for letting me share my story.
Wow, thank you, Jackie. And I guess just sharing with all of our attendees, these are some powerful stories. There's a lot of hurt, a lot of trauma, uh, a lot of truths, right? Experiences, and it might be really triggering. It's we hope everyone is in a safe place, that they feel comfortable, that they feel that they're able to be with someone if they need to be with someone. If it is triggering, if it is a problem, so that they can, feel that support. And that's kind of like what Jackie was saying with the youth, that we want to always encourage them, so we can encourage one another and be there for one another, during these stories and during these sharings, because it is gut wrenching sometimes. It is very like emotionally, like, how do you deal with these things? How do you process, right? Um, and so actually the next question going to Jackson is about that, in terms of how we've talked about how intergenerational trauma, we talked about historical trauma, and now going to your kids, like, how have you been able to, what are you doing as a future generations to heal? How do your grandchildren learn about all this, and how do they heal, or how do they, how are they processing, right?
Yes, thank you for that question, Eric, and everyone here. I really do appreciate all the stories and from Connie and all the panelists here. I know that it's hard to speak about, and the question for me and how it affects us as what our future generation is doing is we're healing, but it's sometimes hard to heal. Everyone being human, we have our own way to mourn, we have our own way to heal, and being from different tribes and different cultures and traditions, we all have ways to help us process these thoughts and these emotions. And for me as a young man, and being very familiar with Anadarko, with Riverside Indian High School and Sherman Indian High School, and Noli Indian School, which is on Saboba Indian Reservation, where my daughter attends as of now, it's hard to even hear. We're still learning, as you can see. My mother clearly said that. I haven't heard a few things that she said today, and it's true. It's hard to hear these things, but as you learn about your family and what they've gone through, you learn how to heal. For me, I've learned growing up, my way of best of healing was to speak with Creator, and he gave me something. He gave me something that I'm very grateful for and appreciative, was the gift of song and the gift of music. I believe how I heal, I teach my kids, is I teach them with our old ways. I wake them up with morning songs. I tell them every day that I love them. I tell them every day that I want them to learn and to really take the day life very serious. Be careful how you use your words. Be careful who you talk to and how you talk to them. Respect others around you. It's not a joke. I really do teach this because this is a part of healing. We know these words of truth and reconciliation. We know the truth. We know what's happening. We understand it as Indian people, as Indigenous people. We know what they've done for many years, hundreds of years. The reconciliation is not with these people that hurt us. It's starting with our family, acknowledging our loved ones, showing that reconciliation in our family. Dad, mom, thank you. Uncle, auntie, thank you. My brother, thank you for being in my life. I love you. What is your day like today? Understanding and loving your family, that's where we start. So I heal by starting with my kids and my family. I start every day with prayer, with acknowledging them, letting them know that Daddy loves them, that I'm here for them. And when they hear the negative things, being in Canada, we have all this going on. Our residential school students, just as far as for my in-laws, my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, her grandparents that are still with us today, they always remind us it's hard to see and hear, but as Indian people, we can choose what we hear and see. We live in an urban environment where there's cars, there's planes, there's trains, there's houses, there's TVs, there's distractions. As Indian people, as Indigenous people, we know how to block that out and to listen to the true sounds of the trees, of the wind, of the water, of our people and our language. That's healing for us, learning how to become and love yourself. That's the way to heal. As far as me, I take that time out to really think about my loved ones and what they've gone through, to see them cry, to see them emotional about the things that I don't know about. It's hard. But when I pray about it and I ask Creator for help, for guidance, I ask the grandfathers, his helpers, I ask for that help. That's the way for me to heal, is to talk with my higher power, what I believe in. My kids trust me as a father to lead them in the right way. And for them to heal is to see me heal as a dad. from drugs and alcohol, to see that being pushed aside out of my life, to be a new face and a new person. When they see me heal, that's them healing as well. They don't see it yet, but when they get older, they'll understand what we did to sacrifice to be there as a parent, as a dad, and as my mother said, as a grandmother. My kids and all of I was always told from my parents, a community can raise a family, and a family needs to raise a child. It's not just parents, it's aunties, uncles, brothers and sisters, grandparents. And so when I think about that way of learning and teaching, it's true. When I see us come together today as a community, we're trying to heal families. And those families are going to take our knowledge and our way of healing, and they're going to use it to their children. So if I could say and answer the question best is how I heal is to love your family. There's an old saying that we're not here forever. To love one another while we're here. Sometimes our elders are only here for a minute, and then they're gone. It feels short. Their knowledge, their wisdom, their love, their songs, their ceremony, it goes with them. So I always ask my kids and tell my kids to honor your loved ones, to respect them while they're here, to talk with them, to walk with them like Creator does us. It's not every day as a human that we have those good days. Sometimes we have bad days. So when we have those bad days is when our community and our family come together and they help us heal. They talk with us. They walk with us. So in a sense, I'm healing right now. You are all here today. These speakers are helping me heal. And my kids are going to watch this and watch me heal. And that's what I want them to see, is setting an example. Being that everyday person for them as a father and as a guardian, as a person that takes them for all they are, the beauty, the pureness of the children are. So as a grandchild, as a son, and as a survivor through this with my family, the best way I do it is loving my family while they're here and listening to them and appreciating the words that we take for granted sometimes. Brother, mother, friend, relative. Be kind to all. As you can always say, the old people and the elders always said, be careful in what you do. There's little ones watching you. It's physical, and it's literally said that they have to look up to you. They're small, they're tiny, they're pure. The only way they can learn is by looking up. And who is that? That's you. It's as a father. And as for me, I look up to my dad, and I'm grateful him being here today. I acknowledge him. So before I end my section of just letting everyone know how I do this, I would love to do what I was taught, is to heal through music and through song. I would quickly like to thank everyone for here. As you know, we all come from mixed internations. Some of us come from different tribes. We're all one being, but I have different ways. My dad's people, they use the drum. My mom's people, they don't. Today, I'm gonna honor my both parents today, and honor everyone here today to know that we're healing together as a family. My mom always says to become one, sepul. It's not easy, but this is a great start for all of our friends and relatives across Indian country to come together, to hear stories from generational teachings from the elders, from the parents, to the children and the grandchildren. So here I sing a song that talks about we're not here forever. Love one another while we're here. For Creator may take us. But while we're here, be there for each other. Kota wenam ke twelve, da puesan que to, na moya ke, otas que kaya. Kota wenam ke twelve, da puesan que to, na moya ke, otas que kaya. For everyone at home and everyone participating, we've smudged, we've prayed, we've sang, we've come together as a true community. Creator has given us something beautiful, our Mother Earth. Remember to acknowledge her. Remember to speak to her. Remember that Creator gave us the sun to talk with him, to feel his energy. Remember to acknowledge your loved ones. Remember to be there. And to always remember family is family. Sometimes it gets cold and sometimes it gets hot, but we survived as Indian people through everything. Be resilient, be proud, and don't forget to share your voice and to speak about your stories. Don't be afraid to speak about what we've went through. We're proud people as Indian people. Be proud, be strong, and know that we're here with you today. To all my relatives, to all of my families at home. As a young man, I pray for you. I send my love, my good energy to you and your home fires, for we might be all over the Indian country, but today we're one and we're together. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Hey, Jackson, thank you so much. That was wonderful. And I hope everyone here and who's watching got some of that good medicine. Everyone's dealing with trauma to some extent, dealing with a lot of issues, and I agree. It's good to be together. It's good to try to figure out ways to move forward, right, as a community. I think we're going to be going over to Averill now, but I did want to just say real quickly thank you to all of our panelists, to Connie, to Jackie, to Jackson, to Averill. It's just such good dynamic energy here. And right to wheel, register, right? Are we? No? Yeah.
Yes, we're going to go to the wheel. Sorry. But continue your
it's ready
closing.
to go. It's all good. But again, thank you to everyone. And also, just FYI, the healing continues. There will be a talking circle coming up. And that is another form of healing and resiliency. And, there's different things. Like, breathing and just pausing. And trying to just deal with all these things that are happening in our lives is always important to take a moment and pause and think about these things. But I want to turn it over to Averill. But also, again, thank you to everyone. And thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you so much, Eric. Thank you to the panelists who are here. We know that this topic and the trauma in which memories can cause, this is a heavy topic. And in order to start and continuing that process, we have invited an individual, an extremely amazing individual. He'll be coming on next, Brian Frejo. I'm going to go ahead and first, before we do that, we had the link open to register, and you guys see that all running down there on the bottom. So right now, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and bring up the wheel, and I hope that you as the panelist will stay here with me, and we can call 4 winners. So Eric, maybe you can help me keep track of it, or we have 4 items that we're going to go ahead and raffle, not raffle, online giveaway. I always say raffle, I'm sorry. But it is an online giveaway. If you registered for today's event, you are in that online giveaway. The first item that we have is a black onyx necklace that is unisex. So this item is coming straight from Melinda Hale, who is of the Dene Nation in Pico Rivera. So shout out to Melinda and the Hale family. They do so many amazing things in community. Thank you. And this is the first item that will be given away, and it will be mailed directly to you. So we're going to go ahead and start the wheel, and here we go. And the winner is Maureen. Thank you so much, Maureen, for your participation, your registration. We will be go ahead and getting this black onyx necklace out to you. So we have 3 more prizes. The next prize, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle this wheel up, and we're going to go ahead and call out the next prize. The next prize is going to be a ribbon shirt, a male ribbon shirt, or a female ribbon shirt, a ribbon shirt in general. So we're going to go ahead and call our next winner for this ribbon shirt, and the ribbon shirt is going to Tatiana Bryant. Thank you so much, Tatiana, for registering with us and joining us for today's event. Whether you're watching live on the replay, thank you so much, Tatiana, Mrs. Tatiana, for joining us. We'll go ahead and get that ribbon shirt out to you. So the next item that we're going to be giving away is a mask set, a soap, and some beaded earrings from Christine Fiore, who is an amazing Native entrepreneur, community member in Los Angeles. We're going to go ahead and give out that next item. And here we go to choose the winner. Ariana Melton. Boo, boo, boo. You're the winner of the mask set, soap, and beaded earrings from Christine Fiore. And our last prize that we're going to be giving away is a shawl. A shawl from an anonymous individual who donated this item. So the final prize is a shawl that you can wrap yourself in, that you can swing and sway the Indian way at powwows. Powwows are coming up soon. And even if you're virtual or at home, you can practice dancing in your living room or wherever you feel safe. So the last item is a shawl, and that goes to, let's see who it goes to. Andrew Coleman. Boo, boo, boo. You're the winner of a shawl. Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you for winning. We're so excited. I want to say thank you to each and every one of you, the panelists, and Eric Sanchez. It's so good. Thank you for being here today and sharing space with us. We appreciate all of you. We're going to go ahead and say we'll see you later, guys. And we're going to go ahead and bring on our next guest, the one and amazing, the healer, the funny man, the music man, the DJ. This kid has all kinds of things happening. So we're going to go ahead and have our moderator bring on the one and only Brian Frejo.
All right. Does that mean it's my turn?
Yes.
Okay. Aho, Noah, Eddie, Mado, thank you for that great introduction. Glad to be here today. I just want to make sure I'm all situated here. I'm going to say Pidamie, Averill for that introduction, and the UCI and Miss Neighbors, Dr. Neighbors for letting me be a part of this virtual gathering today. And I just want to say Noah Iri, Tura Chixtahu, Tatas Brian Frejo, Skeety Chawi, Chariks, Pawnee Nation of Oklahoma, Nukazogi Seminole Nation of Oklahoma. That's the wolf and the leaders of the Pawnee Nation and the Bear Clan of the Seminole people of Oklahoma who traveled all the way from the southeast area to where we are now. It was known as Indian country, but now we all of our tribes have our traditional lands. Right now, I'm coming to you guys from Chicago, otherwise known as Chicagoland, where the 3 council fires here. This land is what it was originally known for here along Lake Michigan, and so glad to be over here working with the community. I'm not sure if Averill's going to ask me any questions today, but just thankful to be on here. And I know we're talking about a lot of historical things that have gone on in our native communities and with our native people. And here we are right now, 2021, on the eve of 2022, and we're still here. We're still here. We're still thriving. We're still pushing forward. Building within our communities, building capacity, as they say, to move forward. And that's how I look at it. I try to look at it, in those ways. That's how I was kind of taught and raised. And I know today we're talking about our support, support systems, our community support, our tribal support, wherever we are, if we're in the reservation, in the community, we're in the urban, where our people are living across the world. My oldest daughter is in England. She's playing basketball in the Euro Basketball League and getting a master's degree. So our people are all across, this Mother Earth, that we call it, Tita Hudaru, this Mother Earth. And so any questions, Averill, and opening about this talking circle before I get into it? I know we're on a time schedule, and I want to kind of get straight to the point because we do have a talking circle today, and I'm really glad that that you guys wanted to provide that, for your participants today, and I think it's going to be really great.
Thank you, Brian, for coming on, for jumping on all the way from out east. And we've had so many individuals here from Canada to all over the place, Long Beach. And we are thankful. This can be a heavy topic. There were tears, there's laughter, there's all kinds of different things that we use as medicine to heal. And what we're going to do after this event is we're going to have a talking circle led by you. And as I stated when I was talking early, or when I was explaining the healing that me and my mother did, was at a talking circle. So what we thought would be great for everybody to know is, what is a talking circle? Why do we use a talking circle? Or also providing the other types of medicines that we can utilize to heal. So my question to you is, how have you seen talking circles heal individuals?
Yeah, there's a long history to the talking, now what we call the talking circle. Um, like Averill said, there's a lot of things that have been talked about today, from the past. I call it historical trauma, intergenerational trauma, past history among our native people. And so many stories. I come from a family that went to the boarding school system. There was one boarding school in our community called, it was called the Pawnee Indian Boarding School, but the nickname was the Gravy U. They called it Gravy U, Gravy University. was a nickname. How Native people always have nicknames for things, and they called it Gravy U, and they said, I went there, and I used to hear that all the time. And I said, well, why did they call it gravy? And then they said, well, because we had gravy for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's all they fed us. And until they started bringing the commodities, I was like, oh, dang, and we saw how the commodities affected our communities. But they made a joke of it, but they didn't like it. A lot of our elders or our grandmas, grandpas that went through that system, they didn't like it. And they talked about it and had a lot of stories. And so now, today, we're still kind of going, moving forward from that past, I guess, trauma that our people went through. And we say talking circles is one of the ways of finding support, finding healing, finding wellness, right now in the days that we're living in. And we, in our language, we call it Itzahak Hawaduksti. I like to refer to our gatherings and when we come together for something good, something positive, in a ceremonial way. We have all of our languages, and that whole language revitalization is huge right now for our communities. So we call it Itzahak Hawaduksti. Itzahak. We're going to gather here. And you see, we got a lot of circles in our community. The circles are everywhere. They just spun the wheel, for the winners there in that circle. It's a big part of our people's belief systems and our ways that we have within our cultures. And so it's a hawk. We're gathering in a circle, and we're going to bring that spiritual place, that spiritual medicine, that good medicine, that spiritual energy. And so that's how I refer to it when I do the talking circles, because since it's a spiritual place, it's like a ceremony, and people they come to listen, and what I like to share is that when they can listen to something maybe they never heard, when they can speak, express themselves, they can share something, where people are listening to them, they're feeling heard. And I know now they call it empathy, or having empathy or empathetic, listening to somebody and what they're going through. And then where we can maybe share something, we share something from our personal experience, a teaching, so we're there to maybe teach something, and then also to learn. And so, to listen, to express ourselves, to share something, to teach, to learn, and then to show compassion and support. So that's when I think about the talking circle, when you have that within that ceremonial space, then there's healing, there's wellness, there's good medicine. When we say we need support, mental health, that's big right now, mental health. And we hear mindfulness and self-care. When we talk about mental health, I think of the talking circle, and there's wellness and there's healing there, because in mental health, it's to us, it's connected to all those four target areas that we have. And if we think of the medicine wheel, your mental health is connected to your emotional health, to your physical health, to your spiritual health. They're all connected. So within that talking circle, that medicine wheel, we hear circle of life, sacred hoop, whatever you were taught, or whatever you were, you learned or was shared with you, that's how I look at it. And that's why I feel like within this talking circle, kind of, it makes me feel like, we're continuing these ceremonies, in different ways now, because we're progressive as Native people. We're innovative. We've been doing these. We've been adapting and transitioning, these words that we hear, for thousands of years. This isn't new. We've always adapted, transitioned, evolved, and here we are again right now. I'm like right here in a split second. I'm coming to you guys straight to Cali, or if you're in another country, just like in a split second. So we're using these ways and this technology, to continue these teachings. So that's where I feel like when we do that, and somebody needs that. Maybe they need that. Maybe this isolation of this pandemic, has impacted a lot of our people. And so now we're finding ways to have a support system. And so through the Itzahak Hawaduksti, this talking circle, that's how I feel like there's healing and wellness, within that. And that's what I've heard from a lot of feedback.
Thank you, Brian, for that. Thank you for sharing that information. I know that in the chat, some people we're saying that it's time to look inward now and to heal ourselves as well. If a talking circle isn't open or available to somebody, how have you how have people that were in the talking circle shared maybe how they have healed? So what I'm trying to ask is, like, if there isn't a support group, how would you recommend individuals heal on their own if they're not able to go to the talking circle?
Yeah, we know a lot of our programs, there's registrations, you have to be a part of the program. Some people haven't even been able to get in a talking circle, sometimes they're limited. Um, and so, we have to find other ways, to um, for our wellness and balance, whatever that is. We see all these different workshops and trainings, toolkits. For me, I feel like, traditionally, we were outside. We did things outside. We ate certain foods, and we used medicines, different medicines that are very powerful, and scientifically, they work. They're science based. We know they're spiritual based, but they're science based as well. One right here. I'm not burning any medicine right here. Is this sweetgrass? There's medicines and teachings that we have as Native people. Every tribe probably has different medicines. Here's one, the sweetgrass. When we know we're going to put up prayers, or we need to put up prayers, we use this is one medicine that we use. And when we burn this medicine, the smell, can bring those certain feelings. Maybe it'll give us a little bit of peace. Maybe it'll give a little bit of calmness, that we're looking for. This right here, this sweetgrass goes along with our prayers, goes along with the belief that in the story is that this sweetgrass was a people at one time, and they prayed so hard their prayer was answered as a people. And when the other people came to look for these ones that were praying, they found this grass there, and they knew when they saw it and they smelled it. They said that's those people. That's medicine. And so that's the power of our prayer and our belief systems. They're, like I said, they're thousands of years old. And we start to believe and think like that, like we believe everything about other things that we're our work, our education. We believe these things that we've learned, researched, studied. This is the same. And so I look at it that way, whether it's cedar, how we use that cedar medicine, or if we're drinking that cedar tea that helps heal us physically, or we're using sage, and we're smoking off. We use the term smoking off. We're going to smoke off this cedar. We're going to smoke off of the sage. And the medicinal properties of it. When you start to learn and research and study that, there's healing there. And if we have to do it alone, we all had to adapt during this pandemic. We were having our own ceremonies in our house, in our backyards, in our front yards, in the car. We were doing, we adapted, and we found ways. We couldn't have sweat lodges, so we found other ways. And then over time, we found talking circles. It's a hawk hawaruxti. We found those certain people that we could talk to and express ourselves to. Some people are really great listeners. Other people, are great at giving advice. Other people are very open and like to share. So we all have these gifts. And so that's what I look. And we talk about wellness. We know we had a lot of trauma. We had a lot of historical trauma, within our tribes, within our families. And then how do we heal from that? Some people kind of bury it. Some people express it. Some people get it out. Some people, some of us reconnect, to our roots, our cultural roots, and deep rooted, traditional ways and values. And then we start to kind of rebuild, from what we've been through. And we've all probably been through it. We all have our stories. So through, these ways and these teachings, we find, whatever it is that you're looking for. I would just encourage you, search it out. If you need to research. If you need to find that elder to visit with, we have some elders on here, Jackie Nunes. There's other elders in our communities that we can visit with and talk to. Do it in a traditional way. Take that tobacco with you. Maybe take a little gift. Our elders, sometimes they won't say anything, but that's an old way. To take that tobacco, make an offering. Take some groceries. There's things that we can do now. We're getting out. We're going to the stores. We can do those things. So those are just a few things, you know, to think about, to share with you today. But that tobacco is a like kind of reverent way of showing respect, you know, and that's another old teaching. And we could go on the tobacco topic in a whole nother workshop, but those are a few things that I wanted to share with you guys. I know we have a few spots open, I think, for the talking circle, but I'm just really glad that people were interested and wanted to learn more about, you know, the message today and the topics that were shared, you know, and people's stories. It's important as we move forward, and that our people know there's support there, and there's people that listen, and it will keep them in their prayers, you know, and help them along in that healing process.
Thank you for answering that question. And the reason that I asked that is because some people might not know what a talking circle is, or might be scared to join the talking circle. You don't necessarily have to talk. You know, just listening might be something healing for you, something new that you learned, um, something that other people are doing to um, for their healing might be something that you can use in your healing. And something in the comments that somebody said, thank you, Adrienne Brown. She says, for my family, I have set up a verbal Zoom talking circle that meets every week. The host of the meeting the host of the meeting that changes every week passes the talking stick from one person to another. So people are doing talking circle, people are doing talking circles on their own, and you don't have to look for places to go. That would be a great thing, just to have a time to virtually connect with your auntie, or with, you know, your cousin or your mother, or things such as that. So I'm really grateful, Adriana. That's a great suggestion. And if there's other suggestions on how you utilize or you heal, please put that in the chat so that we can go ahead and share it. I know even when you're harvesting medicines, you know, they say the way that I was taught was to give something before you take something. So whether that be tobacco, whether that be water, whether that be something that you give, you don't just take something without giving respect to that thing that's offering you those healings. So again, if you have other ways to heal, please put in the chat. I know one thing that works for me, and I actually haven't done it in a couple of days, and maybe that's why I'm not feeling as good, is I like to journal. For me to write down stuff helps me to heal. But as you stated, there are some seats that are available in our talking circle. So thank you to the other individuals that are that have already registered. As you seen, there was a banner that went up that said that the talking circle will close at 11:45, and it's 11:46. So we do want to just we'll probably give you a couple more, if you're watching this right now, a couple more minutes to join the talking circle, because it isn't filled up yet. But we would love to have you there in a healing session after this program. And that healing session will be on Zoom. So once you register, we'll send you the Zoom link. We have individuals working in the background to get out those registration emails to you. I do really want to say thank you to everybody that had a chance to join us, to the panelists that were here, and to all of you that are checking in. Thank you so much for allowing us to share space with you. Brian, I know that you're here to talk about the talking circle. So is there anything else that you would like to say before we end? We're going to be ending this in the next 11 minutes. So is there something that you would like to say, or any of our panelists that would like to say something?
Yeah, I kind of cut off there for a second, but yeah, I just want to welcome everyone, you know, to the talking circle today, and you know, you can start one, you know, and there's certain protocols that go along with it. I'm sure some of you know, if you've been on one, you know, respect is a big part of that talking circle space. You know, there's respect in there to what people are sharing, and you know, opening up, you know, that people will feel, they feel that that good medicine or trust there, they'll open up, and so we have respect within that circle. And that's another part of it that I wanted to share. And so looking forward to doing this today. And I know you guys have a lot going on, so I know you're sticking to the schedule. So I'm just glad that I could jump on and be on with you guys today. Hope you have a blessed day. Many blessings. In our language, we say "Duda hey, Duda chiksta hu." Feel good right here, blessed right here in my chest, my heart, my spirit, my throat, where I breathe. Breathe is breath of life.
Thank you,
Um,
Brian. Go ahead, Jackie.
I'm not going to be on the circle today with you, Brian, but I want to let everybody know that I have been on a talking circle with this young man, my nephew. And I will tell you that it is an experience that you need to try. Like Averill said, if you're a little nervous, don't be nervous. Just go in and listen. Listen is a part of what we understand is part of our healing. We listen, then maybe one day we'll talk, one day we'll share our story. But the other thing that we can do is write. Write down next to your bed when you have some things that you're working through, because creator speaks to us in the with the stars, and he speaks to us at night. And so write, speak, share, and listen. So many blessings to this program, this space. To you, Brian, you're going to do great. I know you're just ready. Jackson will be in there with you, April, and I'll await in a few days to see how did everything go. And I know it's going to be that it went well. So my blessings to you, nephew.
Thank you, Jackie, for those amazing words. Thank you all for being here. And our registration, unfortunately, is going to close. So thank you to those that registered. An email is going to be sent out to you within the next couple of minutes for us to get that email sent out to you. For the talking circle. And this is how it's going to go a little bit, not a little bit, this is how it's going to go. So we're going to go ahead and end our program here at 12 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And at 12:30 Pacific Standard Time, we are going to, actually, I'm sorry, 12:25, we're going to go ahead and open the Zoom link so that you can join on Zoom. We only have 1 hour to do this talking circle. So if you can join at 11:25, we're going to get started. I'm sorry, 12:25. We're going to get started right at 12:30 so that we can make sure that everybody has a chance to speak if they want to speak. Everybody has a chance to heal. But we do also, again, want to say thank you to everybody that was here. Thank you so much again for being here. For those individuals that won the prizes that again were offered were a black onyx necklace, a unisex necklace, a shawl, a mask and beaded earrings, and a ribbon shirt. Congratulations to everybody that was able to register and win those prizes. Again, we're going to give you some time at 12:30 to get ready, a break. And then we'll open our talking circle at 12:25. I'm going to go ahead and bring on Connie Norris and have her say her goodbyes and say any future words that she wants to say. So, Connie, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great.
I want to say thank you for having me on this panel, and healing to everybody. It's good to talk about it. It's good to talk about it. Yeah, and that helps with the healing. It does get very emotional, and in the process of healing, sharing the experiences is healing. So I'm thankful for that, and want to say wash day to everybody. It's a good day. It's a good day for healing, and thank you for having me.
Awesome.
That's it.
Thank you.
The end.
Thank you, Connie. We're going to go ahead and also ask some of our other panelists if they'd like to say their final goodbyes. Eric Sanchez, you're up next. He was our panel moderator, and just thankful again that he's here and that he's able to be in community and help us with our moderation. So, Eric Sanchez, do you have any final words that you'd like to say or sing?
I would just say that thank you to Averill, always believing in me and being a supporter. And thank you to all the panelists. You all had everyone had something wonderful and moving to say. And I don't know, just very thankful. And I hope everyone was able to get something from the experience and can participate in the talking circle to come. And yeah, if you're out in Southern California, it is raining, and so be safe if you're on the road or if you have places to go. And of course, if you're cold, get your blankets and get warm. Especially our older folks, dealing with a lot of pains and aches and stuff like that. So that's about it, and always glad to be of service to the community. So thank you. Aye.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you so much for those words. Thank you for being here. We appreciate your give back to community. I know that community is always in your heart and you're always wanting to make sure that our community does well and has access. So we appreciate you being here. Thank you. One more thing that I'd like to say is that boarding schools, everybody's experience is different. Everybody has a different view of boarding schools. As Connie mentioned in her, when she was speaking, she had, she did well with the schooling part of it. Other people that I've had the vast pleasure to meet, Ken Taylor was a amazing individual here in Los Angeles, and he always spoke about good things about boarding schools, about how boarding school did great things for them. So again, I'm saying everybody has different experiences, but we heal it also in different ways. One of the ways that we heal can be from music, can be from good words, from people listening to you. So thank you all for those that have registered to join our talking circle. I'm going to go ahead and bring on Jackson. If our moderator could just bring Jackson on one last time so that we can get some final words and possibly a song to end us out.
Yes, thank you so much. And yeah, of course, I will have some final words. As I'm so grateful for everyone and all the participating associations and UCI, of course, and the schools and just everyone that came together. And thank you for pals.com for allowing us to put this on their live, and they have so much such a great following. And so I'm very grateful for us to be able to branch out and kind of help out where we can. And I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful today. I was before I let everyone go, I want to let everyone and remind everyone to always wake up and love yourself. You're loved, you're needed, you're wanted. There's a lot of things our Indigenous communities go through, and a lot of them aren't easy. And so with that being said, I want to let everyone go with a gift of song to let everyone know that we're sending good love and good energy to everyone and their home fires through these holidays, through these tough times. I know that holidays are not always easy. And I want to send this gift of song to show you that you are loved and you are needed and wanted and your voice matters. So thank you for allowing me to come today, spread a little, some encouraging words, some of our stories. A lot of them are hard and a lot of them are very difficult, but here's a gift of song. Thank you very much. From my family to yours, Ompalof. Have a beautiful day. May Creator walk with you and talk with you. And remember, you're loved and you're needed. Thank you very much.
Okay, guys, thank you. I actually ended it after you said that, Jackson.
That's cool.
So it was amazing. I appreciate you all for being here. Hannah, thank you so much. Teresa,
Yes.
thank you. Jackie, I don't know if you guys have any final words or any, would I like to say any well wishes or what went good or what we would like to improve maybe for the next time. When there's a next time, I'm just putting it out there in the universe. Teresa, how do you think that it went, or is there anything that we can improve?
Yeah, I think it went really well. I'm grateful to all of you for being here and sharing your personal experiences and your thoughts. I think it was an honor for all of us that were watching. I was kind of reading through the comments, and we got the same sentiment from attendees. I think we kind of learned about the sound thing. So if we do this again, we'll be on top of that. But otherwise, I think we did a fantastic job. Yeah, I thought it went well.
Awesome, great.
Awesome.
Does anybody else have any words that they would like to share?
Well, I just want to say how grateful I am that it came to fruition and that I've been with Teresa with her healing and truth and racial transfer. Or let's see, let me say it right. Truth, healing, and racial transformation. No, how did I say it? I said it wrong.
That was good enough.
But okay. So, it was like, this is like a marriage that is very good. We can learn from the program that you have, and you can learn from us. And it was beautiful. And I've never been really on with my son. And Jackson, thank you so much. I just, as a mother, I'm so proud of you. And you are saying exactly how you raise my grandkids. And thank you. Eric, I love you, and thank you so much, because we always need that sort of balance to kind of get it out there. Thanks for behind the scenes, my beautiful little girl up there. I can't see your name right now, so my personal mind.
Hannah.
But April, everything was just great. Hannah B, I'm sorry, Hannah B. I just thank you so much. So I hope that we think about another one, how it goes, where it goes. It's important that we might have something here that could really change the world. So thank you all from the bottom of my heart.
I would like this just to say, good job, team. Eric, great job with, you guys both did really good on keeping it the flow. And Teresa, everyone, just thank you for just inviting me and having me be along with all these wonderful people. Hannah B, I know that you're completely working the back, and I really appreciate you and what you've done. Things I'm telling you, people don't realize big stage productions, it's the background work that makes the show run smooth. So we really appreciate everyone that had their hand. That yes, round of ovation there. And Eric, it's always good to see your face, always good to hear your voice. I'm glad you're doing good, and what a great opportunity for all of us. And as a youthful man in my community and with our community that we've just built, I'm grateful to be here and to work alongside with you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for those amazing words. You all are welcome to come on and come on to the talking circle if you'd like. I know, Hannah B, you're here for this part, and I know you might have to go back to work, but just, you're all welcome to be there. It's going to start, and Teresa did put in the private chat that she's going to open the link at 12:10. So please go get some water, use the restroom, do what you got to do to make yourself comfortable, and we'll see you at 12:10.
Awesome.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, thanks.
Bye,
I'll probably do it while I'm working, just to listen.
Awesome. Okay, great. We'll see you there.
Everyone.
Okay.